Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 5th, current time 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. If you'll just join us with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I invite you to join with me if you're willing. Heavenly Father, when we stop and pause our busy lives for just a moment, we are reminded that life is a gift. We are reminded that everyone has abilities, not disabilities. We are reminded that often opportunities come disguised as problems or challenges. As we are reminded that each day is a gift, we understand that with each new day we have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people we know or even to complete strangers. What it takes to provide words of encouragement, what it takes to show support for people going through tough times, what it takes to be the difference in someone's life starts with a grateful heart that is looking to share a blessing. Father, may our hearts always be grateful, and may we always seek to be the just-in-time blessing that someone needs today. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Good evening once again. First item of business will be public comment, and when wishing to address the Board of County Commissioners on any item which is not a public hearing, now is your opportunity to do that. If you're here for a public hearing item, please come back when that item is called for the public hearing component. When you come to the podium, remember we all respect one another, and give us your name for the record, please. And good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. My name's Bob Tobias. I'm a resident of North Hutchinson Island. I'm one of the many residents that are utilizing the Pepper Park pickleball courts. And if you go by there 7 days a week, you'll see that they're being occupied quite heavily. I mean, there's over 20 people probably every morning there. So my understanding that the county is looking at adding 2 additional courts there, but that's like 2 years out. So I was just wanting to bring it up to the commission to see if there's any way that it could be moved forward. I mean, we're that busy right now. We're getting into season, and it's just tough. I mean, you go to counties, surrounding counties, and it's not uncommon for them to be putting in 10 to 12 courts at facilities, and they're packed. So it's a very fast-growing sport. It's a social sport. So I just wanted to make you all aware of what the situation was there at Pepper Park.
Thank you. We accept large donations.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. We are under public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing no movement, we'll come back to the board. Next item, there's a series of minutes. We can agree to move them all together in one. I'll read them off for the clerk, and then the board can make a decision to motion for all or make changes. First item of minutes for approval is the BOCC regular meeting of September 7th, 2021, followed by the BOCC tentative budget meeting of September 9th, 2021, followed by the Board of County Commissioners informal meeting of September 14th, 2021, Board of County Commissioners regular meeting of September 21, 2021, and the Board of County Commissioners final budget meeting of September 23rd, 2021. And last on the list is Board of County Commissioners special meeting of September 27th, 2021. I'll accept any changes, additions, deletions, or accept a motion to accept all.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion by Bart, second by Hutchinson. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item will be proclamations. We have a number of proclamations. I'll be remaining at the podium down below during the proclamation portion. And Madam Clerk, will you please read resolution number 21-347?
A resolution proclaiming the month of October 2021 as Disability Employment Awareness Month in St. Lucie County, Florida. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida has made the following determinations. Residents of St. Lucie County benefit from the efforts of employees and volunteers of St. Lucie County. The St. Lucie County Commissioners and staff realize individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities have the capacity to positively contribute to the economy of St. Lucie County and help promote a vibrant community. St. Lucie County Commissioners recognize and support all residents with disabilities and announces October as Disability Employment Awareness Month, DEAM. In St. Lucie County, to recognize and raise awareness about disability employment issues and celebrate many contributions to people with disabilities. Recognizing October as Disability Employment Awareness Month will reinforce the value and talent people with disabilities add to our workplaces and our community's commitment to an inclusive community. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida. This board does hereby proclaim October 2021 as Disability Employment Awareness Month in St. Lucie County, Florida. This board further encourages the citizens of St. Lucie County to celebrate the many contributions of people with disabilities, passed and duly adopted this 5th day of October 2021.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Mitchell, second by
Second.
Townsend. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Today we have Athari Koenig of ARC here to collect the resolution. And she may not be here because she just did a walk, and they were very, very successful. So I will accept it on her behalf, and we'll go on to the next one. All right. Next one is resolution number 21-367, proclaiming October 11th, 2021 as International Day of the Girl Child.
A resolution proclaiming October 11, 2021 as International Day of the Girl Child in St. Lucie County, Florida. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida has the following determinations. October 11th is the International Day of the Girl Child, a day to recognize the contributions of girls to society. On December 18, 2011, United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 66-170 to declare October 11th as International Day of the Girl Child, to recognize girls' rights, contributions, and the unique challenges girls face around the world. The world is home to more than 1.1 billion girls under the age of 18 who are poised to become the largest generation of female leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers the world has ever seen. Girls have been breaking boundaries and barriers caused by stereotypes, including those based on disabilities and socioeconomic status. As a result, they are creating a world that is more than tolerant, but one that is inclusive of them and future generations. International Day of the Girl Child further recognizes the power of adolescent girls to change the world, both as the empowered girls of today and as tomorrow's leaders. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida. This board does hereby proclaim October 11, 2021 as International Day of the Girl Child in St. Lucie County, Florida, and encourages all residents to show their support for all girls by joining the many organizations that are continuing to fight to empower girls and provide a roadmap that encourages girls to be all they can be, passed and duly adopted this 5th day of October 2021.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by
Second.
Townsend, second by Bartz. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Tonight we have Megan Johnson, Executive Director of Pace Center for Girls, here to accept the resolution. Thanks for coming.
Smiling under here.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
There we go.
Appreciate it.
Wanna say a few words?
Yes, please.
After you.
Thank you, County and Commissioners. We really appreciate you recognizing and awarding this resolution. As we know, our youth is so important, and girls, they need their day. We're shattering glass ceilings. Now is the time. I've been fortunate to be the Executive Director of PACE for the last 2 years, and although it has been a crazy time, as everybody knows, we have been able to have 100% academic improvement. And our girls who may not have been on the positive pathways are now. And we wouldn't be able to do that without your support. We are very excited to share that we're serving more girls than ever before. We are addressing mental health concerns in the community in partnership with Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County and other nonprofits. And that wouldn't be possible without your support and the strength and leadership of our board. And I do have 3 board members in the audience that I'd like to recognize. So thank you to Lynette Marafa, Sharita, and Crystal Morris. So again, thank you guys so much, and we appreciate your support.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Megan. Next up, resolution is number 21-370, proclaiming October 2021 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
A resolution proclaiming October 2021 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month and recognizing Friends in Pink, Inc. for providing financial assistance to breast cancer patients living on the Treasure Coast in St. Lucie County, Florida. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida has made the following determinations. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual health campaign organized by major breast cancer charities every October to increase awareness of the disease and to raise funds for research into its cause, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and cure. 90% of those with early diagnosis survive breast cancer for 5 years or more. Friends in Pink, Inc. has the mission to financially assist those who have little to no health insurance to pay for breast cancer surgery and treatment. With the support of local business partners, donors, and volunteers, Friends in Pink, Inc. is able to host dozens of fundraising events, luncheons, and donation drives each year. The money raised by these initiatives are used to make direct healthcare payments on behalf of the men and women they assist. Since 2005, the nonprofit organization has helped more than 300 individuals pay for life-saving treatment and surgeries that they otherwise might not have been able to afford. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida. This board does hereby proclaim October 2021 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in St. Lucie County, Florida, and recognizes Friends in Pink, Inc. for making the future brighter for so many because of their caring attitude and strong commitment. This board encourages all residents to participate in October events to celebrate breast cancer survivors, pay tribute to those lost to the disease, and raise funds to end breast cancer once and for all. Passed and duly adopted this 5th day of October 2021.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Motion by Mitchell, second by Hutchinson. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. And Vice Chair, nice job with the pink tie tonight. Tonight we have Robin Young and Friends in Pink, and then we also have Benita Ballou, Recipient Services Coordinator, to collect the proclamation. Good evening. Shall we take a picture now? I'll give you a moment with the microphone. How's that? There you go. All right, thank you. Microphone's yours.
Hi, my name is Robin, and I'm the president of Friends in Pink. This is Benita, and I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing Friends in Pink this evening. I tell everybody the same thing. Friends in Pink doesn't do fluffy stuff. We pay the bills. When a breast cancer patient who's been diagnosed comes to us and they don't have enough insurance or they have no insurance, we do whatever we can to help them through their breast cancer journey, to help them survive. So that being said, all of our events are very, very important to us. So if anybody wants to be a celebrity chef, just give me a call because I'm looking for some celebrity chefs for an event coming very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chair,
Townsend, didn't you?
Mr.
Go ahead.
I don't think you called the vote. You did a
Oh, I'm sorry.
motion and a second.
I thought I did. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping me on my toes.
And Mr. Chair, I have a question for them. Panera Bread usually does the bagels with the breast cancer ribbon. Are they doing that again this year?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Not sure, but I will check into that.
thank you.
All right. And I know there are some chefs up here, by the way.
Yeah, you're one of them.
Yeah. Didn't you beat me though?
I sure did.
Yeah. See. 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 It's 25 years in the business. Kicked my butt. Anyway.
At least you admit it.
Yeah. You know. I've been married. I understand. Resolution number 21385, proclaiming the month of October 2021 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
A resolution proclaiming the month of October 2021 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in St. Lucie County, Florida. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida has made the following determinations. Domestic violence transcends all ethnic, racial, and socioeconomic boundaries. Its perpetrators abuse their victims physically, mentally, emotionally, and economically, and the effects of their attacks are far-reaching, weakening the very core of our county. Domestic violence is particularly devastating because it too often occurs in the privacy of the home, a place meant to represent shelter and security. During the month of October, Americans should contemplate the scars that domestic violence leaves on our society and what each of us can do to prevent it. Because domestic violence usually takes place in private, many Americans may not realize how widespread it is right now in our own county. The cost of domestic violence in St. Lucie County has been estimated at over $30 million per year. More than 50% of the survivors served annually by Safe Space are St. Lucie County residents. Each year in the United States, more than 10 million women and men experience physical abuse by their intimate partners. Many of these victims experience repeated abuse over the course of a year. As unsettling as these statistics are, it is also disturbing to realize 90% of domestic violence victims, children, are eyewitnesses to these attacks, and that the domestic violence may be the single most major precursor to fatalities from child abuse and neglect in the U.S. Our prosecutors, law enforcement officers, and victim advocates have worked together with Safe Space to reduce domestic violence in our county and assist victims and their families. Through education, awareness, and enforcement, we are striving to prevent domestic violence and sexual assault. Public action awareness will create a society that promotes strong values, foster a safe and loving home environment for every family, and refuses to tolerate domestic violence in any form. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida, that this board does hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in St. Lucie County, Florida. This board urges all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs sponsored by Safe Space, Inc., to work toward the elimination of personal and institutional violence against adults and children. Passed and duly adopted this 5th day of October 2021.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bart, second by Hutchinson. All in favor?
Before we say all in favor, I think you two need to have the catwalk down there and back, if you would, please. That way you can really appreciate what women go through in our heels.
What I want to know is, when did we get 9-inch stilettos for this dude?
Your honorable, wonderful councilmen and women, I got to tell you, these guys come out every year for us and support us. Sean and Chris and Howard, you've come out before, and I just want to thank you guys. You don't know what it means, but it is. You look good in them, and we're just thankful that you man up and do the right thing.
Come get a picture up here. We'll let the
Yeah, they
board
do.
come
It's a
behind
good
and
cause.
We'll walk over here. Carl, is he so much made up, Howard?
Chris, I've seen you running those things. Why are you having a problem? I have.
I mean, we are chuckling up here, but it is a great cause, and we do support this. But we just think it's great that y'all are such good sports in it.
Randall High, there we go.
Oh, yeah. If not, I'll Photoshop them, man.
Oh, nice. And also, I think the deputies need to be recognized because I see they're even wearing the mask, so thank you guys.
The fire district called, said thanks for not having to pick up the fat guy at the microphone. Did you want to announce anything?
Wait, Chris, I think we need to vote.
No, I did it again. I voted. We voted.
Yeah, Linda and Franny.
Made the
We
motion,
made, but
but
we
we
didn't
didn't
vote.
official.
I said all in favor.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We just want to keep it official.
Okay, the microphone's yours.
Thank you.
And I'm going to put flats on.
Okay, good enough. Thank you very much, commissioners. We sincerely appreciate your support of Safe Space. I am here tonight in the company of the president of the board, Nancy Wong, board member Mike Lafreniere, board member Dan People and past president of the board, and board member and chair of the finance committee, Captain Adam Goodner,
Wow.
and our development manager, Jamie Bellamy. So on behalf of Safe Space, the staff members, the board of directors, most importantly, the victims of domestic violence and the children whom we serve every day, I'd like to extend our serious appreciation to the Board County Commissioner St. Lucie for recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I wish I was here today to tell you that the incidence of domestic violence in this beautiful paradise that we call home has been decreasing. But the opposite is the reality. We must recognize that domestic violence was a pandemic prior to the COVID-19 outbreak. And this public health issue has only exacerbated even more the incidence of intimate partner violence. We should not and cannot remain silent about how members of our communities are being impacted by these criminal acts. During fiscal year 2021, Safe Space provided services to 430 residents of St. Lucie County, representing 56% of the total population that Safe Space serves. These individuals received close to 5,500 outreach services from our domestic violence advocates. And I'd like to recognize one of our expert outreach program domestic violence advocates, Michelle Ench. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. More telling is that in 2020, our Invest advocate, who specializes in serving victims at risk of high mortality, served 42 women who were threatened with homicide, 40 of which reported being residents of St. Lucie County. So that is 95% of the high lethality participants that we served. Given the rise in the number of victims of domestic partner violence from St. Lucie County seeking our services, we launched a concerted effort to establish brick-and-mortar offices in this county, and we're glad that this has been made possible through a facilities use agreement in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. We believe it's time to stop the silence and openly address the overall impact that domestic violence has on our society and how we should address this historically taboo subject. In addition to the obvious humanistic and psychological impact on the victims, there is also an enormous economic impact on society from domestic violence. We estimate that the cost of domestic violence in St. Lucie County amounts to almost $31 million annually. This estimate considers the number of domestic violence incidents reported by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the associated medical costs, mental health services access, loss of productivity, and law enforcement costs. This is no surprise when we consider that nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. 20 people per minute every single day. 4 women are murdered by their partners on a daily basis. And research study has found that children exposed to violence in the home were 15 times more likely to be physically and or sexually assaulted than the national average. I believe that we will all agree that violence is wrong and must be prosecuted accordingly. Not only are the direct victims impacted, but also family members, taxpayers, the economy, and the smallest and most vulnerable, the children. Domestic violence is a serious national, societal, and economic issue that everyone has a role in eradicating. Often, witnesses to domestic abuse are afraid to speak up or to get involved. I therefore ask that each one of us here today do our best to talk about this serious issue as we increase awareness among the community at large about the high incidence of intimate partner violence and its impact on the well-being of St. Lucie County. So many of you are very familiar with Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, and we're really hopeful that you join us Saturday, November 13th at the Stuart Martin Air Show as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Safe Space Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. an activity that helps raise awareness about the seriousness of this malady that is intimate partner violence. So let's unite as we ratify our commitment to the victims of domestic abuse and their children, in that they are not invisible, that life can be different, that it is not too late, and that Safe Space programs and services are here to support them as they transition to an independent life free of violence. Thank you for your support and for this proclamation.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you for all you do.
So let me just take a second to tell you, and don't take this wrong, I don't want to see you here again. It's time for it to stop. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, it's been a big evening so far. Nobody broke anything. All right, next item will be the consent agenda. Is there any item a commissioner would like to pull for separate vote or consideration? I do have a note that 8C3 was pulled prior to the meeting. There's nothing a commissioner would like to have for additional vote or discussion. I'll accept the motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mitchell, second by Townsend. Any other questions on the item? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to public hearings. And before we do that, just a couple quick items. 10A2 simply was added prior to the meeting, and then there were some additional attachments provided in the consent agenda for the 8B5. That was just additional information. That said, we'll move on to 10A1, and I'll turn it over to Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is a public hearing, as you indicated. It's item 9A1.
I'm sorry, 9A1.
This item will be handled by Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri. And what you have before you is ordinance number 21-035, amending Chapter 36, Article 4, Regulations for Properties and Facilities Owned or Leased by the County of St. Lucie County Code of Ordinance by regulating the areas for vessels. Simply put, we are asking that the ordinance would say no vessel, boat, or watercraft shall be parked or docked at Harbor Point Park without the permission of the county administrator. This prohibition includes the parking area of the park and the shoreline adjacent to the park. Permission to advertise was granted by the Board of County Commissioners on September 7th. An advertisement has been run, and staff is recommending approval of the ordinance and authorize the chair to sign the same.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
I have a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that this is going to come up in our Tri-County thing, but also Mr. Tipton, I'd like to see this moved a little bit forward, even more so, because there's a lot of sailboats out there that are mooring up in front of the sewage treatment plant, and they're discharging their waste. And so I've had a couple conversations over the past year with staff, but it's time now, because even the Sheriff's Department is witnessing the sailboats discharging their waste at the evening hours. So I think it's on the agenda to be talked and discussed, but I think we need to have a serious conversation to stop it, that there's not going to be any mooring in the Indian River at all.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. I fully and wholeheartedly agree, because they're moving from other areas and coming here because they think they can get away with it, so we need to stop it. All right.
They are.
This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item, please come forward. Seeing no movement from the audience, come back to the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Townsend, second by Mitchell. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item, 9A2, please.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, again, for the record, Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri, and you have ordinance 21-037, amending Section 4880 of the Code of Ordinance and Compiled Laws, parking restricted on certain streets. This ordinance would prohibit parking on Industrial Avenue 1, just on the north side. South side is residential. from North 25th Street to Jefferson Parkway. Oleander Avenue from its intersection with Edwards Road to its intersection with DeGiorgio Road. And DeGiorgio Road, both sides, with its intersection from Oleander Avenue to the west and approximately 1,900 feet. In response to complaints received, a no parking study was conducted on all three of these roads: Industrial Avenue on the north side, Oleander Avenue from Edwards Road to DeGiorgio Road, and DeGiorgio Road on both sides from its intersection of Oleander Avenue to the west. After doing the no parking study, it is the opinion of the Road and Bridge Division that no parking signs are warranted. It was also presented to the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. They also recommend approval, and it was asked of the school board whether there'd be any issue with the no parking signs on Oleander Avenue because there are school bus stops, and they also indicated there would be no issue there. This ordinance would allow us to place the signs there. Once the signs are there, then the sheriff's office could help with enforcement of the no parking. All three of these areas originated because of code complaints. Permission to advertise was approved by the board on September 7th. It was advertised in the paper, and staff is recommending approval and authorization for the chair to sign the same.
Okay, any questions of staff? Just simply stated that this is a clear and present danger, and it needs to be addressed. So this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item, please come forward. Seeing the movement, come back to the board.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Hutchinson, second by Bartz. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item will be 9B1, Southern Trust Amendment to the official.
Actually,
No.
Mr. Chairman,
No.
there's
Oh, I'm sorry, I
another
didn't see that one.
9A3.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
9A3.
Yes, sir. This item is a proposed ordinance that, if adopted, would establish the Silver Oak Community Development District. It is a public hearing. The state law provides for the creation of these community development districts by ordinance. They're primarily used by developers to finance infrastructure inside the development: roads, stormwater, sometimes water and sewer, parks, things like that. They're used, again, as a method to finance those particular items. We have in St. Lucie County approved some community development districts. One of the concerns that we've always had is that we want to make sure that the potential for assessment and taxes on the people buying the property and the development is disclosed, and we have that in our ordinance, that we require that for full disclosure, because that's one of the things that's created problems, I think, in other parts of the state. We've also attempted to make sure that we limit the powers of the district. So you'll see in the ordinance itself, the district can't provide, as an example, fire service, mosquito service, solid waste service, water and wastewater service. They can't condemn property outside the district. So again, that's not necessarily usual, but that's what we do in St. Lucie County. We've got a petition from Coulter Acquisitions the developer to create the district. The developer did advertise as required by state law. As I said, we have a public hearing. Staff recommends that the board approve the ordinance and authorize the chair to sign the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre, and you did state that very well, because it is a concern. Each year, we bring the trim notices out, and the folks come out and they blame this board for seeing a large number attached to their taxes, which is not levied by this board or the county. And so, those folks that participate in the CDD, they should clearly know that those are being levied by another agency and not us. Sometimes it's actually twice as much as all of the county taxes on a trim notice. That being said, I do have a question, Mr. McIntyre, because it came up today in my office. There is a CDD that I'm working with that actually has suggested, what's the word I'm going to look for, is to actually diminish or to get rid of the CDD for a property that's nearby here. And so what is the process, if you even have it off the top of your head? I don't know if you do, but.
Yeah, I would need to look at it. It's in
Yeah.
Chapter 190 Florida statutes, but there is a process to dissolve a district. And we've done that once before. I want to say in Whispering Oaks, that might not be the right one, but.
We did it on
Celebration
Jenkins
Point.
Road, on the Jenkins Road project, we
Yeah,
dissolved it.
Celebration
Right,
Point.
we've done once before, but it requires, I believe, the consent of the affected property owners. But I can certainly get with you after the meeting and provide you with the requirements to dissolve.
Okay, well, this one's gonna be imminent, so we do have a call into your office for
And
that.
and I think it will also require an ordinance
Okay.
dissolving the
All right.
the
Thank you.
CDD.
Thank you. This is any questions of staff? No, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item? Come on up. Come forward. You'll come up to the podium and make your way up here. If you want to line up, you're welcome. It'll make it a little quicker for you to be able to speak. Good evening. If you'll just tell us who you are for the record.
My name is Casey Hampson. I live on Tilton Road, which is the road of the affected property. Thank you for giving us the opportunity as homeowners in the area to speak. I wrote this today, it's not very long. My name is Casey Hampson. My husband Jason and I have lived in the quiet St. Lucie Gardens equestrian community for over 8 years. Like the rest of the families in this community, we were not interested in living in the city and searched for a quieter area of St. Lucie County to call home and raise future children. As I'm sure you are aware, there are not many of those areas left to choose from in Port St. Lucie, and we are lucky to find a house in one of those last remaining areas to call our own. We love the slower pace, seeing the neighborhood children riding their bikes on a safe, quiet road, and especially love all the native wildlife we get to enjoy in our yard that you just do not find within the city limits. Now that quiet life is once again facing the threat of major change, Leonard Road is being proposed to cut right through our yards and life as we know it. There is also the threat of developing the 125-acre parcel on Tilton Road. Although we understand that change and growth are inevitable situations as the world progresses, a major road and an over 300-unit development just do not belong in the middle of a quiet single-family home, equestrian community. Such a project would completely change the dynamic of our little slice of paradise. The increased noise, influx of traffic of a US 1 alternative, and thousands of individuals entering and exiting our community daily would lower property values, increase the crime rate, and totally remove the charm and draw of the small community that it has held for decades. However, what it would do to the northern portion of our community is not comparable to the change it would cause to the southern Dyer Road section of the neighborhood. Families there would have Leonard Road cut right through their quiet front yards, or possibly even have their homes consumed by eminent domain, depending on how the county decides to extend the road. In addition, developing a mostly wetland parcel that size would negatively affect the drainage of the area, making adjacent properties already prone to flooding much worse. The county still has not made good on their promise to rectify the drainage issues they caused at Two Bod Farms years ago while paving Tilton Road. Building such a large complex catty-corner to them would only make their current situation worse. The parcel would inevitably also drain to the east and negatively affect the properties of over 50 homeowners. It would also cause the pollution made by 300-plus proposed units to run off into the Savannah's Preserve and then straight into our already suffering Indian River Lagoon. St. Lucie County needs to do their part and protect one of the most biodiverse estuaries in the Northern Hemisphere. In addition, the impact to wildlife on the land itself would be unmeasurable. Daily, we get to enjoy some of Florida's most unique wildlife right in our backyards because our community backs up to the beautiful Savannah's Preserve. A major development would change that forever. There is no telling how many gopher tortoises, bobcats, owls, foxes, birds, snakes, lizards, and other fragile species, as well as native trees and plants, would be affected. You cannot go more than a day or two without seeing a post on the St. Lucie Nextdoor website of people complaining of sightings of bobcats and coyotes in their yards within the city of PSL. Removing another 125 acres of untouched land would only increase those sightings, as you would be removing one of the last remaining areas for those species to call home. When will enough be enough? When all of St. Lucie County is developed and there is no vacant land to be found? Wildlife needs a place to call home as well, and the damage we as humans cause to the balance of nature needs to be taken into consideration heavily when proposing a project of this magnitude in an area where it simply does not belong. In closing, please consider the wildlife, environmental impact, and the fact that not everyone in St. Lucie County wants to live in the middle of the hustle and bustle of a busy city. Do not force the families of this community to leave St. Lucie County and move to surrounding counties such as Martin and Indian River, where they still value a sense of space and privacy. Thank you.
Thank you. We are under public comment. Anyone wishing to address this item, please come forward. Don't be shy. There's plenty of seats up here. Come on up and we'll move you all through the system and hear what you have to say. When you get to the podium, just let us know who you are for the clerks and for the record. Good evening, ma'am.
I did not bring any prepared notes, but I am Laura Galati, and I live in the St. Lucie Garden Lake Lucie Estates area. And the problems we had I've been there for 30 years myself. And the point is that she was saying that about this acreage, it's all agriculturally residentially zoned. But in the past, the things that we have seen also was trying to put emergency exits on privately owned and maintained easements. The drainage was going to be significant off of that development onto our properties. And we're not even notified of what's coming up and what's coming down the pike. So it's very annoying to find out that just because somebody happened to see this, that's the only reason our neighborhood knows about it. If we can't even get postal delivery out there, why do you think you should be able to put a development out there? The county has warned us if they put a development in there, they're going to come after us for water and sewage. We've been there 30 years and more, some of my neighbors. But to put emergency exits and to use the privately owned and maintained easements is not. And I see nothing in that the comments that the attorney made that allows for that to be an issue. And the fact that we can't even see what's going on and what's being planned to have those objections. And like I said, 30 years. Most people who come out to my house say they had no idea that this neighborhood existed. And I raised 4 children there, and we had 140 animals at one time. So this is a development like this that can come in and make demands on everybody else in the neighborhood without us having any input. It's not right. Okay, I mean, there's been issues with the road that's been going on for over 30 years too. Because at one point they asked me if I wanted to donate my house, which is almost a mile from the other lady's house, for them to put Leonard Road through and have it go straight down Tilton Road. It was 2 weeks before I was moving into that house, after spending months building it. Okay, so it's like, hello, this is a neighborhood. Let's not turn it into a commercial industry.
Thank you. And may I ask, your last name is Galati?
Galati, G-U-L-L-O-T-T-I.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next speaker. Next speaker. And just for those of you speaking tonight, this is not about a site plan. It has been in play for probably more than 10 years. But tonight's agenda item is not about a site plan or the community. This is a community development district. And Mr. McIntyre, do you want to give me the difference between this item as a...
Sure. What's in front of the board tonight is the developer of the property is proposing a district that would be used as a funding or financing mechanism to construct the internal improvements inside the development, not external improvements. Again, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to actually address the actual development history of this, but my memory is that this started off as something called Porta Oaks years ago, many years ago, prior to, I think, this board, many years before this board was sitting here. And the board at that time, a different board, approved the a rezoning of the property and a site plan. Since that time, the development has changed the name. It's now known, I believe, as Silver Oaks PUD, Planned Unit Development. We have reduced the density from what originally was approved. The original density was more than what is currently available. We also required the developer of this PUD to donate substantial acreage on the southwest corner of the property for drainage, for stormwater. And in fact, the board has authorized, and we're under design right now, taking the drainage from Tilton Road south on Silver Oak, and then I believe we're in the process of designing and permitting an 8-acre pond for the surrounding area for that. There was mention about Leonard Road Extension. The board, a number of years ago, determined not to proceed at this time with the Leonard Road Extension. So there are no, it is, to be honest, it is on the county's long-range plans. It's identified, but there are no current plans to develop the Leonard Road Extension at this time. In other words, we don't have anybody under contract to design and permit it. But again, to be honest, it is identified on the long-range plans.
And Mr. McIntyre, I need to cut you off, but simply this is that when a site plan does come forward, those folks that have indicated concern about being notified, St. Lucie County has a process by which notification occurs within 500 feet of a development. And then those folks who have concerns could actually reach out to planning and development and ask to be included on those notifications. Is that correct?
Right, and that was done on the earlier approvals, and there were a fair number of people coming at the time years ago and objecting to the PUD. But this is different. Again, it's allowed under state law. It's a financing, basically a financing mechanism for the internal infrastructure.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McIntyre. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just thought it would be important to let you know that this isn't a site plan we're reviewing tonight. It's just simply a
I did not know
component.
that.
Yeah.
But I'll
Well, it's good information that you
Okay.
have.
Well,
Okay.
I'll just introduce myself. And my name's Courtney Santarella. I lived on Hutchinson Island for 24 years and then discovered Tilton Road. And last year I bought 1050 Tilton Road, which is right before Two Bad Ranch and right before Sea Oats. And it's concerning to me to know that all of a sudden this little beautiful paradise is now going to be just engulfed in development. And what I mention is, besides the Sea Oaks, is it brought to my attention that Prima Vista Commons, which is to the left of me, is now trying, or will be before you, or has been before you, to modify from 3 stories to 4 stories, take out the senior living, add more apartments. And when I stopped and I found out about that, I was told I won't be notified. It's a private deal, and it'll just they're going in for a modification, and it'll be a done deal. So that's what's very concerning to me, is just development all over the place from our beautiful little St. Lucie Gardens. So I'll be back here again when the Willows comes into play and Silver Oats.
Great, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time. We are under public comment. Please come forward. Just let us know who you are for the record. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jarrett Earlywine. I'm with KE Law Group here on behalf of the petitioner. I'm happy to address some of the questions we've raised. I think through your staff and yourself, you've addressed some of it already. You all originally asked about disclosure. I wanted to be clear with you all that there's a lot of disclosure. In fact, the legislature, probably 5 or so years ago, created some additional requirements for CDDs to make sure they had public websites and that there's recordable documents addressing the CDDs and the assessments. There's a ton of recordable documents. There's requirements in the sales contracts. Coulter, trains their salespeople really well. So there's a lot of information out there. And all of our meetings obviously are advertised, just like your all's meetings are here today. So we have public hearings on assessments and all the rest of it. So all of that is fully disclosed. I wanted to reassure you of that. The second point, which I think you all have already made, is this is a project with some history on it. It has already been approved for development. And just, I know a lot of the commissioners already understand this, but there's a lot of advantages to having a CDD versus a non-CDD structure. So this particular development has already been approved.
Just speak to us because your camera's here. And
Perfect.
There you
Thank you, sir. There are advantages to having a CDD structure as compared to a traditional developer HOA structure. With the traditional HOA developer structure, the infrastructure just costs more, right? The community development district actually saves money because it can go and issue tax-exempt bonds, access that tax-exempt bond market. They can spread the costs over time, and not just on the front end when the project is first being done, which results in better landscaping, better amenity centers, and better improvements, but also when the residents take over the project later on and they're wanting to redo the stormwater ponds or the roads or what have you, they can go back and access that same tax-exempt bond market. So financially, it makes a lot of sense. There's also default protection. So if there was a developer default and you had a recession or something like that, a CDD project is going to perform much better than a non-CDD project. And the reason for that is because once the CDD issues bonds, that bond money is not sitting in the developer's pocket. It's actually sitting in a trust estate bank, like U.S. Bank or Regions Bank, and it's controlled by the bondholders in a default. So the bondholders can use it to finish the project and keep the improvements being built. They can pay for the landscaping to continue to be watered while you go through a foreclosure process. It can even pay for foreclosure fees to get you back into productive use with that project more quickly, as opposed to a project that didn't have any money and just a belly-up developer. So there's default protection. And then there's a ton of ancillary benefits that once the residents are actually on the board and they've been dealing with CDDs, they generally appreciate quite a bit. Not only can they go back and access that tax-exempt bond market and get better rates and better financing for improvements, but they also can collect on the tax roll, which is a really powerful thing to be able to collect on the tax roll. It's much easier than dealing with HOAs and whatnot. In fact, Marion County has gotten to the point where if you have a larger project, you actually have to come to the city, to the county rather, and ask them for a CDD or an MSBU because they've had so much trouble with HOAs coming to the county and saying, hey, we can't collect what we need to in order to take care of this road repaving project. So they actually prefer to have the CDD in place. CDDs have sovereign immunity protection. Again, they're able to collect on the tax roll. I had a CDD down in Southwest Florida that they were debating, as you all were suggesting, there's a process. You can dissolve a CDD. You go through, get the board's consent, and if it doesn't have any assets, it's turned them all over to the HOA. You can dissolve it if you want to. And we had a board that was considering doing that in Southwest Florida. And some of the residents actually made all the arguments I just made about why a CDD is great, and ultimately they left the CDD in place. The next year, Hurricane Irma went through, it tore up all their stormwater ponds, and they got FEMA funding because it was a community development district, saving a bunch of money. That CDD is still in place today, as you might imagine. So it really does help keep up your property values, and it's a really nice management structure and financing structure for an approved development, which this one is. So.
Okay, thank you. We're still under public comment, so I'll...
Mr. Chair, could you spell your last name, please?
Yeah.
Sure. It's Early Wine, so it's spelled early in the morning, like early in the morning, and wine like the drink.
And your first name was Jan?
Jared, J-E-R-E.
J-E-R-E.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are still under public comment. Anyone wishing to address this item? Seeing no further movement, we'll come back to the board. The pleasure of the board.
Just so I got this right, we are just voting yes or no on a funding mechanism, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir. This
Silver
has
X.
nothing to do with the development of the parcel. It's not a rezoning or a site plan approval. It's simply a community development district that used for internal financing purposes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mitchell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bart. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Townsend,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bartz,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes, ma'am.
Chair Jazowski.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And then for those of you, whenever the plan comes forward, we'll expect to see you back. Thank you for your time tonight. Next item is 9B1, the Southern Trust Company's amendment. This is a quasi judicial item. Do we have anything to declare? I know that I just talked to staff, right? Commissioner Hutchinson?
Mr. Chair, I've spoken with staff and I believe the EDC members.
EDC, okay.
Same.
Staff and EDC.
Commissioner Townsend?
Same.
All right. Everyone spoke to staff and EDC. All right. Good evening to here. Nice to see you tonight.
Good seeing you as well. Okay, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Tahir Curry, and I'm the Associate Planner with the Planning and Development Services Department. Agenda item 9B1 is a rezone petition for Southern Trust Companies for a 29.24 acre parcel located west of Tell Dairy Road and north of Fort Pierce Farms, Water Control District, Canal 1. The property is located east of the existing Southern Trust Company site located at 2590 South Kings Highway in Fort Pierce, Florida. The public hearing was noticed with the sign of petition site and display ad in local newspaper on September 22nd, 2021, and mailed out notices to property owners within 500 feet. Proof of advertising is provided within the agenda packet. Mailed out notices were sent out to 9 property owners within 500 feet of the subject site. The planning department did not receive any responses. And this is the area showing the 29.24 acre site outlined in red. A future land use designation is townships, villages, and countrysides. The future land use category is comparable to zoning districts that allow for industrial and manufacturing uses. The proposed rezoning to industrial-like zoning district is consistent with the townships, villages, and countryside future land use designation per the comprehensive plan table land use designation zoning compatibility chart. The subject property is currently has a zoning designation of agriculture 1. The proposed rezone will conform to the minimum lot size and dimension requirements and according to section 70401 for the proposed industrial-like zoning district. The surrounding properties to the north, east, west consist of industrial-like and agriculture 1 zoning designations. The current request to rezone will support Southern Trust Company's proposal to expand into a 33,600 square foot manufacturing facility with site improvements and associated stormwater located at 2590 North Kings Highway. On June 17, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to forward this petition to the Board of County Commissioners with a recommendation of approval. This petition conforms to the standards of review as set forth in the St. Lucie County Land Development Code, Section 110603, and is consistent with the St. Lucie County Comprehensive Plan, goals, objectives, and policies. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve this rezoning petition. Staff and the applicants are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Hearing none, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item?
Good evening. For the record, Brad Curry with EDC. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Staff did an excellent job presenting. I don't really have anything else to add unless you have specific questions for me.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item? Seeing none, we'll come back to the board.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Townsend, second by Mitchell. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 2. This is comprehensive plan amendment. And while Jody's coming up, Jody Netwick, this is her birthday, to give you an idea how committed she is to her job. And she also got married. Happy nuptials and happy birthday.
Birthday, marriage, and still at work.
Yep. That's called a committed staff.
Yes.
She needs a raise. Where's Leslie?
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Jazowskis and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Jody Netwick / Kugler, Senior
Perfect.
Planner with the Planning and Development Services. I'll be presenting the agenda item 9B2, a comprehensive plan text amendment to create a new element entitled Property Rights. In accordance with public notice requirements outlined in section 11.00.03 of the St. Lucie County Land Development Code, public notice for this item was advertised in the St. Lucie County News Tribune on Sunday, September 14, 2021. The proposed amendment is required due to a new legislative mandates effective July 1st, 2021. And in particular, House Bill 59, growth management requires all local governments to have a property rights element included in their comprehensive plan. The legislation modified Chapter 163.3177 of the Florida statutes to add a property rights element as one of the requirement elements in all comprehensive plans. The legislative also limits the ability to adopt any other comprehensive plan amendments entitled after July 1st from being adopted until the property rights element is adopted. The state defines amendments initiated after July 1st, 2021 as those amendments which have their first public hearing, in this case is a Planning and Zoning Commission hearing after that date. This proposed amendment will add a new element to the comprehensive plan. House Bill 59 states that local governments may adopt the statement of rights as set forth in Chapter 163. Local governments may also adopt their own property rights element, so as long as the element does not conflict with the statement of rights listed within the House Bill 59. The proposed amendment meets the intent of the language within the House bill. The proposed amendment is not anticipated to require any changes to the Land Development Code. The county has already established within their Land Development Public Code public notices requirements such as newspaper ads, mailers within 500 feet, and posting on the properties. This is the additional language proposed within the comprehensive element. On September 15, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Commission, acting as the local planning agency, recommended unanimously the Board of County Commissioners adopt a comprehensive plan amendment to create a new element entitled property rights. The proposed text amendment is consistent with the standards of review set forth in St. Lucie County Land Development Code, Section 11.06.03, and the St. Lucie County Comprehensive Plan's goals, objectives, and policy. Staff recommends the board approve transmittal of the comprehensive plan text amendments to the Florida Department of Economic to create a new element entitled property rights. This concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Hearing none. This is a
Motion
public.
to approve.
Well, it's a public hearing.
It's a public comment. I'm in a public hearing.
It's a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item? Seeing the move, we'll come back to the board. I have a motion by Commissioner Mitchell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hutchinson. Any comments or questions on the item? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion
Just trying to
passes.
get you out of here, Jody.
And just so you know, the St. Louis County has been actually doing this work already for many years. This is just a legislative item that the state brought forward, and we're already doing it, so. All right, next item is item number 3, Travel Camp Small Scale Future Land Use Map Amendment. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening.
Now you did it.
Uh-oh.
You broke it.
Help's on the way.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Chris McCrane, Associate Planner with the Planning and Development Services Department. And tonight I'll be presenting Agenda Item 9B3, a petition submitted by Travel Camp LLC for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map element. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. In accordance with public notice requirements outlined in Section 11.00.03 of the St. Lucie County Land Development Code, advertisement was placed in the St. Lucie News Tribune on Saturday, September 25th, 2021. In addition, notices were mailed to adjacent property owners within 500 feet, and a sign is placed on the property notifying of tonight's public hearing. The petition pertains to the 4.95 acre vacant parcel located on the east side of US Highway 1, situated approximately 800 feet south of Easy Street and the Indian River Estates subdivision. The subject property is designated by the Commercial General Zoning District. However, the property contains a split future land use designation, with the northern portion designated by the commercial future land use and the southern 1.75 acres designated by the transportation utilities future land use. The petition for an amendment to the future land use map would provide a uniform commercial future land use designation across the entire parcel, while also providing compatibility with the existing commercial general zoning district. Staff is recommending the Board of County Commissioners authorize county staff to transmit the proposed future land use map amendment to the Department of Economic Opportunity and the corresponding reviewing agencies. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Chris. You stated at the beginning that this was quasi-judicial. I just want to clarify, this is not, it is legislative?
It's legislative. It's a future land use amendment. A
Great.
rezone would be quasi-judicial.
All right, thank you.
My apologies.
No worries. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address this item? Seeing no movement, come back to the board.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by
Second.
Townsend, second by Bartz. Any comments or questions on the item?
I believe you had a gentleman stand up to speak.
Did you want to
You're
speak?
okay?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item, comprehensive plan amendment number 4, planning section. And just, we did ask the utilities director to come up with this item. He has something to add before we get started. So, who wants to go first?
Good evening again. Again, my name is Jody Netchwick / Kugler, Senior Planner with the Planning and Development Services. Tonight we will be asking for a proposed postponement of this agenda item for the comprehensive plan amendment to implement the 10-year water supply plan to November 2nd.
Okay, anything to add?
Chair, Commissioners, George Landry, Director of Public Utilities and Solid Waste. For the record, we have made some significant changes to the capital and infrastructure plan within utilities, and we would like to submit that updated plan into this. So that's why we're requesting the postponement until November to get that put into the plan and back in front of you to review.
Any questions from the board? Mr. McIntyre, we just move this forward to a date certain?
Yes, sir. It would be November 2nd. That's a night meeting, so at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Bartz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hutchinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So that is,
Thank you.
the motion was to move it to November 2nd at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter could be heard. Next item, we'll move into the regular agenda. This will be county attorney.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some time ago, the board had a discussion relating to the county sidewalk regulations, which currently provide inside the urban service area for paved sidewalks. And my recollection is that the board wanted to review language that would potentially relax those regulations for developments that perhaps are more of an agricultural, equestrian flavor. And so from a staff perspective, we've been trying to come up with some language to try to address that issue, and we wanted to bring it to the board for discussion tonight before we go ahead and advertise it. The way we've proposed it, and it's kind of morphed into it's different from when we started it, but right now we're proposing that inside the urban service boundary with lot sizes of 2.5 acres or greater, the board may waive the sidewalk requirements along internal roads and allow those developments to construct unpaved trails for use by pedestrians or horses along those internal roads. So we've tried to, again, carve out a very narrow exception for those large lot developments inside the urban service area. Outside the urban service area, I believe we don't require paved sidewalks at that, there's the ability to waive those. So this is, again, an attempt to address the concern raised by some board members at a previous board meeting.
Any questions of staff? I just have one, and since this is just a permission to advertise, you know, what we end up doing when we do these types of situations, we kick the can down the road. And my concern is, what it's always been is, a lot of neighborhoods get built up over time, and implementation of sidewalks, et cetera, don't get done. Is it possible to have in the advertising portion or the education portion that we add in that if a community is built with these components, 2.5 or greater, that if they want to build sidewalks in their community, they can apply for an MSTU and they become a yes vote. We've done that with paving waivers, but this way we don't continue to accelerate the sins of the past.
Yes, sir, and we certainly could do that. We could do that as part of the waiver, which we do typically we have other regulations that require paved access for smaller traffic generators, and almost routinely, we provide for a yes vote on an MSBU or an MSTU.
Well, I just want to bring it up before it goes to advertising so that staff has an understanding of some of that. I didn't want to hear from the board too if there's any concerns about that. It'll come back to us as an official.
Yes, sir, this is
agenda
we're just at the beginning. It would go to P&Z first for their review and recommendations, and then it would come back to the board.
Okay, this is a regular item.
Staff would recommend, unless there's comments or suggestions, we'd recommend that you go ahead and grant permission to advertise.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Hutchinson, second by Townsend. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 2, Resolution 21-386, providing for discounting. This is going to be yours, Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, sir. I believe Mr. Tipton will, I have a question for him as part of this that I believe he will hopefully answer. At this point, we have that didn't come out right, but I'm certain he will answer the question, hopefully in the right way. The county currently has an interlocal. Actually, we do not have an interlocal with the city of Port St. Lucie. When I wrote this, we did, which agreement provides for crediting the amount of county road impact fees against the county's road impact fee, resulting in a reduction. It could have been up to 50%, but the city chose to levy a lower amount, so it was actually about 23% or so in that range. And we are proposing that since the city terminated the interlocal agreement with the county and will stop collecting and has stopped collecting the county's road impact fee effective actually October 1st. They offered to extend it through October 4th, but 2 of those days were weekend days, and so we chose not to take them up on that. We also, as the board is aware, proposed an extension of that with some hold harmless provisions. Mr. Tipton wrote a letter, and that was rejected as well. We've retained experts to update our fees. We explained that at various points in time. We're in the process of doing that. The board has already previously adopted a resolution that would escrow those funds, roads and park funds, after October 1st, and refund in the event that the fees come back in lower. So we've attempted to hold the development community harmless on that. We are proposing, however, until the completion of those updates, that we discount our fees by 25% in order to collect approximately the same amount of road impact fees within the city as we had collected under the prior interlocal agreement. We've drafted a resolution, proposed a resolution that would provide for that discount. Currently, the discount is 10%, so it's only going up an incremental 15%. And what I want to ask Mr. Tipton to put on the record is when you do discount these impact fees, you really need to be prepared to fund them through an alternate funding source. And I simply want to confirm on the record that we do have alternate funding sources available. Again, we're talking about a 2 to 3 month period, really is all in this particular resolution. You know, the idea of discounts we'll address perhaps in the future, but today we're talking about really a 2 to 3 month period at the maximum. And I just want him to confirm on the record that we have alternate revenue sources available to fund the difference between 0 and 25%.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. And Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I will confirm that for this period of time, which again is a relatively brief period of time, there are alternative revenue resources that we can have, anything from just straight reserves to gas tax, infrastructure sales tax. There's any number of ways that we could address this.
With that statement on the record, Mr. Chairman, staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Question, I just want to say that this board continues to be a champion for the development community and for our residents. And again, we are going out of our way to protect that which is our economy and our community by, again, one more step in making a difference. That said, is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Bartz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hutchinson. Any comments or questions on the item? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We have come to the end of a regular agenda. Are there any announcements, Mr. Tipton?
Mr. Chair, the board will have its informal or workshop meeting on Tuesday, October the 12th, at 9 a.m. here in these chambers. And then secondly, on October the 14th, the board will hold a special workshop or informal meeting to discuss redistricting. This is something that comes up every 10 years as a result of the new census information. And so the board will be having that workshop to discuss the various alternatives. And that will be Tuesday the 14th here in these chambers.
So you have.
That's at 1 p.m.
Okay. All right. Anything else from the board? Hearing none. We are adjourned.